In today's video, I'm going to cover off is Logan City Council actually a good area to invest in? I'm going to go through and show you exactly where Logan is. Other things around, what's some growth factors, population growth, what sort of infrastructure spending are they doing in the area, job creation. These are a number of factors you look at to work out, hey, is this a high growth area? Um, I'm also going to run you through some of the deals that I've done. We look at some buy and holds, buying out a granny flat, duplexes, and I'll just run you through the ins and outs of it. But before I jump into that, hey, I'm Nathan from Invision Property. I'm a Brisbane-based buyer's agent. I help time poor investors and families get into the market. So let's jump into the video. So where is Logan? So Logan is made up of this whole section in southeast Queensland. Your main like city hubs and your main highway is the M1 that runs straight down the middle and it gets you to Brisbane and to the Gold Coast. So, location wise, it's smack bang in the middle. It's like logistically easy to get from there, even to get up to the Sunshine Coast. So it's a good spot to live. If for job wise, it's easy access to a number of different jobs like trades. There's a public hospital there, and so what makes that very important is that there's like economic diversity. It's not just relying on tourism or anything like that. But as you go out, you've got Newbeath and Jimboomba and Yarrabilba and all of these areas that are a lot further out. These, I don't know what you call them, like Greenlands or the acreage properties. They're actually building out a lot of master plans. So there's a master plan that's happening in Jimboomba. There's a master plan happening in Yarrabilba. There's one happening in Marsden. Oh, I'm not Marsden. I mean, there's one happening out in Greenbank, and then it must be part of the Bow Desert one. But I guess long story short, there's about three different. Oh, and then there's a Park Region. So there's four different master plans happening out there. So I think all four of them are either Lindleys or Stocklands. So they're building out their own little mini centers out there, big shopping malls and the whole lot. And it's really going to create a lot more housing for the crisis we have at the moment. But there's a lot of money flowing into Logan. Long story short. If we check it out, like if we look into the infrastructure and everything like that, some of the highlights is there's affordability is super cheap. You can still get properties for around 400K. Super low vacancy rates. Good location between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. There's a ton of projects in the pipeline, especially between now and the Olympics, where they're now fast tracking a lot of that stuff for the infrastructure, so it's in place for the Olympics. $1.5 billion Crestmead Logistics Centre. That is massive for the area. That's going to create a ton of jobs, like around warehousing distributions. Like they put up the warehouse and they've created all these jobs. And with these jobs, they're not getting paid. Some of them are on like 70, 80K a year, which doesn't seem like much with inflation, but they're on pretty good wages. If we go through, we can see the population has continually been growing, and they've got a projected of it to be 500,000 by 2036. A very diverse economy. So there's a number of different types of jobs that people are working in within this area. So if we go through, we can have a look at some of the vacancy rates in this area from a snapshot in this report. The medium yields, which this is pretty up to date, are sitting around that 4%. To try to achieve 5%, it's a bit tricky. You definitely want to stay away from Woodridge. There's a number of other suburbs you want to stay away from, but you can get a decent yield out in these areas, and they're only around 30Ks from the CBD. So there's a Logan City Council that has its own public Logan own public hospital. Here we go. We're coming through the projects. So here are the projects coming up. A lot of new schools coming up. Cross River Rail. It's a $5.4 billion project. Coomera connecting the M1. That's going to remove a lot of the congestion. So being in Brisbane and a local, traveling from the Gold Coast or down from the Gold Coast up to Brisbane, in between there, it's just a nightmare. When it hits, it just gets heavily congested. As soon as there's some sort of accident or anything like that, it's just mayhem. It could take you that's probably a 40-minute drive. That could easily end up being 2 hours just because there's an accident. So they're creating another lane from Coomera running all the way up to Logan. So that should help with that congestion. 95. So there's a lot of projects in the pipeline. Beenleigh, Logan Hospital upgrade, $598 million. That's creating 1,000 jobs. Meadowbrook Private Hospital, $150 million. Springwood Health Hub. Logan. So if we go through, we can see there's a lot of infrastructure getting put in place within the Logan area. One sort of emphasis I like making when I'm trying to find an investment property for a client is I like to stick to existing suburbs, places that already have a lot of existing infrastructure. I don't really go for the house and land packages out like 40, 50 Ks out, because I believe it comes down to supply and demand. And with supply and demand, we want to look at, here's some of the growth factors that I do like looking at. So we look at price range, price type, vacancy rates, population growth, economic diversity, existing infrastructure. So what's there at the moment? We also want to look for what's the new infrastructure coming. That's what we're looking at the moment. How early it is in the growth cycle, climate risks, sales volumes. And then we've got some other factors we can look at from now. We're going to narrow it down in the suburb and the town. So we want to look at, proximity, current and future prospects for supply and demand. So proximity to major shopping centres, medical, schools and transports. We also want to look at some supply parameters, new builds, stock on the market, just information around the stock, and then the demand. So how many people are going to come into this area between now and the next 10 years. So, we're looking at employment, so jobs, population growth, what's the lifestyle like, what new projects are in the pipeline, days on market, discounting, vacancy rates, auction clearance rates, and days on rental market. So once these are what you're looking for a growth area, you can then, jump on and have a look. And then, Logan's got a lot of, growth factors happening. There's a lot of money being spent. Where is the money being spent? And then you also want to look at it, there's already all this existing infrastructure. Let's find a deal in these areas that already have the existing roads. They've already got all the public transport, and they're already ready to go, where you want to be in this area because it's going to make it a lot easier to buy a property below market value and at a discount. So I guess going through all of this, projects and the developments coming up, it's pretty good to see. Brisbane's one of the third largest capital cities. There's millions of dollars being spent in this one region. It does look like it could be a good area for buying an investment property. So if you want to get some more information around all these projects, or you want access to this report, feel free to reach out to myself, and I'll try to get this over to you and run you through the ins and outs of Logan. But the next stage, I wanted to jump on and show you a couple of deals that I've done for clients. So we've got sort of, when we're looking at real estate, we're looking at, do you just what your budget is, what style of property will suit you for with what current properties you have at the moment, and then what's your lifestyle costs and everything like that moving forward down the track. So this is the property deal I got for a client. He was based in Sydney. It was a cookie cutter, just 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. Managed to pick this property up for $500K. At the time, these properties were selling for around $550 to $600. So we managed to get it 50 grand below market value, that's one of the bonuses of when you use a buyer's agent. They get in there, found this property off market, then went in super hard with the negotiations, got it for $500K. So it's 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it's renting for $500 per week. So that's a good 5% rental yield. It's around the corner from the M1 highway. You've got that $1.5 billion project happening in Crestmead. All the deals that I'm going to show you coming up. I got it for 510. Sorry, a little bit off. All the deals that I'm going to be showing you are all in the same suburb because I don't want to confuse you. I do buy across Logan. There's multiple different suburbs, but I just thought I'd show you this one. This is a good, solid, just a good buy and hold property. The next one is what I call a buy and then add a granny flat. And this one's probably a perfect example. Got this property for a client. They were wanting to buy in their self-managed super fund. This was probably 12 months ago when the market was a little bit cheaper, but we managed to get it off market at like a really cheap price. We got it for $370K at the time, so this property is worth probably $500. I managed to get one recently for $460. So you have to really push and get these properties below market value. And if you want to know how to get properties below market value, I'm sharing a bunch of case studies that I've done for clients. And there's heaps of ways. Like I found this one off market again. And I guess my favorite way of finding deals is just getting on the phone, calling agents, building really solid relationships. So then, boom, when deals come up, you're going to be the first person they call. But this one here was just a 3-bed, 1 bath at the front. And then they went ahead and they added in this. This is the house at the front. And then they went ahead and added that's what it looked like before, the granny flat. So I'm going to jump on here. So this is the granny flat. This granny flat cost around $170,000. So with inflation and everything, they're at about $200K now. So, but look at the size of it. It's virtually the same size as the house at the front. So they just built in that side access, driveway along the side. It's got its own little carport. This is what it looks like from the top. So it looks like RP Data hasn't updated it, but there is the granny flat that sits there. There's a driveway that goes along the back there. Then you've got your granny flat. It's virtually the same size as the house. And the granny flat is renting for $400 per week. They're renting the front house for $450. So in total, it costs $370,000 for that house, plus $170 for the granny flat. You're at $540,000, and it's bringing in $840 per week. Divided by 500. So that's 7.8% rental yield. It's sitting. And it's already gone up 100 grand or 150 grand in value since I brought it as well. So they had an awesome result. I don't know how much they put in there, maybe 20% in total. So that'll be like 100 grand. So they've made 100% on their money now, and now they've got an asset that's bringing them $850 per week. So that's a very common style within the Logan Council. You buy these 3-bedroom, 1 baths, and you add the granny flat out the back. And it's a good strategy because it just brings in a ton of cash flow. One of the other strategies that's going to be a bit more low maintenance and less hands-on is what I call getting a duplex. So this was a duplex I found for a client. It's probably been 2 months ago. Again, I found it off market and negotiated it 50 grand below market value. So I managed to pick this one up for, hasn't been uploaded yet, 650,000. Duplexes in Crestmead again, south of 700,000. I found this through one of my agent contacts. They wanted 700. We just negotiated super hard and got it for 650. But there's no real photos on here at the moment. But long story short, you've got your 3-bedroom, 2-bath on the side of the house. And then along the side there, you've got a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. So within Logan, I've got a lot of these duplexes. And when they're set up, you can rent this side for $450 per week. And then you can rent the other side for $350 per week as well, which brings you to $800 per week. Really good, solid assets. They're built to be rented out. They've only got the one title, very low maintenance, easy to manage. I definitely think duplexes are the way to go. It's just hard to get them at the right price. At the moment, with the boom and everything, people are wanting over 700. You just have to, go through, contact the agent, and when you find it, you just need to negotiate hard to get that purchase price down to make it worthwhile. But they're definitely a good asset to have in your portfolio from a cash flow point of view. They're bringing in 800 now, but the way that rents are going up, they went up 20% over the last 3-4 years. That could easily be $1,000 10 years down the track. And, in combination with some capital growth properties, you may sell off a capital growth property down the track. You're going to have all this cash. You can then funnel it into this style of property and pay off all the debt, pay off your home debt, and then you've got an asset that's bringing you enough money to pay the bills. So those are the 3 styles. You buy and hold, buy and add a granny flat, and get a duplex. There's the other one where you're looking around development sites and that. I haven't been buying too much development sites in Logan. I think it might be a bit too early. I'd probably rather buy a different style of property before I was going to buy a development site there. But yeah, it just doesn't stack up. A lot of the development sites I buy are more inner city, Brisbane City Council. There's just a lot more demand there and a bit more low risk. So the next part I wanted to cover off was that's everything. There you go, guys. That was a quick snapshot of Logan City Council. We looked at, where it's located, 30 k's from the CBD. Had a look at all the infrastructure that's happening there. I couldn't really go through all of this. So much happening there between now and the 2030. There's millions of dollars being poured into the area. Some factors you can look at to narrow down on some good suburbs. So when you're buying in Logan, you don't want to buy in any suburb. As you heard, there's some pretty, bad suburbs. So make sure you do your research. Make sure you jump on, get on the phone with the agents. They're probably not the best person to talk to, actually. They will tell you if a suburb's really good if they need to sell a deal. So if you are looking to buy in Logan, get in touch with myself. I work as a buyer's agent. I'm buying properties in these areas all the time. I can run you through the ins and outs of the area, the different suburbs that I'm buying in, some different strategies. But I hope from this video you get a good understanding of different types of properties you can buy in Logan and why it does make sense to buy in Logan. But if you want to, you can book in a free strategy call with myself. Just go to the website, envisionproperty.com.au. Book in a call. I'll jump on, run you through the ins and outs. Or you could potentially be one of the small clients that I work with to get them into their investment property.